Marvel is still here, and they're here to stay. Like they're not going anywhere. There was a time where I used to be extremely excited to go to the theaters to watch a Marvel movie. Like it would be on my mind for months, and leading up to the day I would be extremely excited. In the past couple of years, I haven't had that urge, period. Like, not even for Thunderbolts, Captain America, and most importantly, the Fantastic Four. I realized that sometimes you do need those up and down moments to be reminded of how great the MCU is. The Fantastic Four just showed me why Marvel is still here, and they're here to stay. Like they're not going anywhere. The Fantastic Four was a film that really showed me that wow, like Marvel still got it in the bag. The best thing about that movie was surprisingly the casting. I was talking shit about the casting before, I'm not gonna lie. I was, okay. There was just a lot of, things in the air about, the woke ideas, just how these cast members support those ideas. It really put a bad taste in my mouth on them, and I had a negative connotation going into the film. All I gotta say is they killed that shit. They absolutely killed that shit. I damn near forgot about all the past Fantastic Four members. This is the new Fantastic Four, and they're here to stay. First guy I gotta talk about is my favorite, Johnny Storm. All right, Joseph Quinn. You did what you had to do, bro. You did. I'm not gonna lie. This Johnny Storm wasn't that bad boy, Chad like guy. Like he wasn't. But he also wasn't far left either, right? He was literally in the middle, and he was actually someone that contributed in the strategic aspect instead of just, pure strength, right? And power. Joseph Quinn was very likable in this film. He wasn't doing too much. He didn't seem like he was being someone he wasn't trying to be. And I really felt like he could be a really solid Johnny Storm in the future. He really enveloped that character better than I expected, and I was very impressed with his performance. There was a scene in the beginning that just showed me, like, damn, when you guys watch the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. It kind of reminds me of Superman Returns, when he was saving the entire city from the eruptions of that kryptonite island. That Superman was probably the most experienced and knew how to use his powers to make the most impact. In the first couple of scenes in the Fantastic Four, that's exactly what Johnny does, and it shows that, wow, like this character is actually using his brain, to make an impact with his powers. Unlike the previous Johnnies, right? They might have been a little bit more charismatic, whatever, but when you put them side by side, you're like, all right, he's obviously the better hero, in a sense, like he knows what to do with his powers. Marvel did a fantastic job with adapting his powers into the film. Reed Richards, Pedro Pascal, like as much flack that he's getting on the internet right now about his whole anxiety situation and touching, women, like, hey, I mean, I'm not gonna bring that into this conversation, but we're gonna focus on his acting here. He did a damn good job as Reed. Like, he definitely showed that mental battle that Reed faces of just being so smart that he's not aware of how ahead of everyone he is, right? He thinks so fast and has so many problems that he's solving that he doesn't really show his full presence when he's with the family. and Pedro Pascal did a really good job of conveying that. And man, like, he showed really good emotion with his relationship with Sue. His you guys are gonna see this part too, but they showed his powers and it was dope. It looked really good. I think he's gonna be really pivotal in the next Avengers movies. Like, him going against Robert Downey Jr. like head to head, that on screen is gonna be crazy. So I'm really excited about him. This first movie of him as Reed Richards, there's already a lot of flack on him as Reed Richards, but once you guys see the movie, you're like, all right, they did a good job casting this dude. Ben Grimm, all right, like, he usually is the most likable character in the films, in the comics, right? He's just like that uncle that is very warm, very caring. And Evan Ross Bogner, I don't know how to say his last name. I don't. Okay. But that was such a great casting choice, man. Like, you really like Ben Grimm after that movie. One thing too, like I mentioned with the Human Torch that they did with Joseph Quinn, is they really showed those skill sets and those attributes that are overshadowed a lot in the previous iterations. With Ben Grimm in this movie, you're actually able to see how good of a pilot and how smart he actually is. You can also look at him as a peer to Reed Richards, right? Not just a dumb brute force guy. Like, he was actually very intelligent, and they showed that in the film. That was such a great aspect to see with The Thing, and Marvel really captured that with this. So again, props to him as well too. Then obviously Sue Richards, man, Sue was really her. You know how we all say, he's him? She was her. Like, in a sense, she was the main person in this film, right? And you'll see at the very end of the movie where you'll finally see her as the strongest member of the Fantastic Four. She is such a great leader in this movie and did a phenomenal job as, the head. Vanessa Kirby did a fantastic job, right? She did an awesome job of being Sue Richards. All these actors did a fantastic job really showing these characters, right? When you watch the film, I won't say there's a ton of action, but they were very efficient with the action in this movie, right? As you guys know, Marvel likes to tease, certain things in movies to build up to a giant film, right? We saw that with the first films in Phase 4 leading up to the Avengers movies, and that's exactly what they're going to do with, Avengers Doomsday and Secret War. So they're not going to put everything in these films, but for what we could get with the Fantastic Four, it was very satisfying and had a really good conclusion as its own single movie, right? You weren't really craving for more after the fact, which is the best thing about it, right? With Thunderbolts, I felt like I was craving for more with that movie, okay? Captain America, I felt like I was craving more with that. Like, it just didn't seem like there was a good conclusion that it ended off of. But Fantastic Four, you really end off with a good conclusion to lead up to Avengers Doomsday. And when you guys see the end credit scene, it definitely sets it up. CGI was amazing, right? When they put in Galactus, that's the first time we've seen, a live action adaptation, not that cloud, that bullshit cloud that we're used to. They actually showed Galactus in real form, and he looked great. He looked great. The power scaling, it was actually believable. It wasn't like, okay, you weren't trying to figure out how are they gonna beat this dude. They showed a really good storyline of how they could, defeat him without making the power scaling so crazy that it was like, all right, this doesn't even seem believable, right? So Galactus looked awesome. Silver Surfer, right? Man, I mean, I'm not gonna say she's better than the original Silver Surfer, but for what she is, they did a good job with her, Okay, I don't even have any hate towards her or nothing. There was some unresolved hate that I had when I found out that it was going to be a female, right? Just for the fact that I really wanted the Silver Surfer to be, you know, a guy. But she did a really good job. I mean, she came in there, you know, had the same stoicism and grace that the Silver Surfer had, and, you know, did her part, right? So that was dope. I still want a male Silver Surfer though. Don't get me, like, I'm sorry, all right? She did great, but I still want to see a male Silver Surfer. I'm sorry. Literally the most OP motherfucker in the MCU, you know, Franklin Richards. Like, that's one thing that I am very curious to see how they're gonna adapt his powers into the MCU. Like, if he's that powerful, how do they even make films of him? Like, how? Right? So, you know, they show a little bit of his capabilities in the film, which was dope. But, you know, I'm really excited to see him grow up and be more capable and aware of what he can do. So it was good to finally see him in the film. The biggest thing about this is it just shows you that Marvel never really dropped the ball, right? They might have been off the rails a little bit recently, but they reminded us of why they're still number one. Okay, definitely can't wait till Doomsday. I mean, that movie might make 1.5 billion. It might have to. Like, I just can't see it not. Simply for the fact that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be back in that film. Fantastic Four was great. You guys need to check it out. You know, you're going to be getting a lot more excitement with Marvel drops after this film, all right? It was a very difficult drought we had the past couple of years, but they showed us with Fantastic Four why they're still number one. Thanks again. If you guys like this review, please comment on, you know, what you think of the movie if you've already seen it. And, you know, does this show that Marvel is back on top? And who's going to really win this battle in the studios when it comes to the Marvel and the DCU? Thanks. Until next time.